Hey, everybody. This is Breaking the Cage. You are listening to Matrix Mind Media, Astrology TV. But this show is Breaking the Cage. And I am LSF, Lady Stars on Fire, also known as the Shaman, because that's what Matt always calls me. And before I want to get into all of the information for today, I want to apologize for being late. I'm really starting to think it's a Matrix Minds problem. Because you all know, doesn't matter. Matt seems to always have trouble getting on time. And I'm starting to think it's a Matrix Minds problem that you just can't get on time for this show. Or Matrix Minds in general. But this is Breaking the Cage. And before I get into anything, I'm going to give you a little bit of announcements while I let the people start to come in as well. And I'm trying to send something real fast. Okay. Here's the deal. I want to throw out a few announcements before I get into all of the astrology and the energy and the blueprint and everything, what Spirit's giving me for this week as we come into April 17th through the 24th. Yes, we're heading for an eclipse. So that puts energy on a whole new level. It's not just the full moon that you were just dealing with. It wasn't the new moon of this month. I've been calling this a dark month for the whole time. And that's because it's a light bringer month. But let me come back into the announcements for just a minute. For any of you who have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I have my own Etsy shop, because I closed the website, and I'm making sure that you all know that, especially if you're Matrix Mind people. I love you guys in this community. If you are finding me through the Matrix Minds, if you go to the Etsy shop, all you have to do is put in Matrix Minds when you purchase anything, and you will get a 20% off. It does not come on all of the products. However, it does come on many. I do the astrology charts. I do the blueprint charts. I do one-on-one readings, which could be anything from tarot to astrology to, what Spirit is giving me. But more importantly, there's my products there as well. And there's much to help many people. I have many things that I've created with the guidance of Spirit. There's a certain formula that Spirit and I work with when we're creating things, and I have many essential oils steered towards the direction of grief, helping people get over that, coming into their power. For psychic sponge energy, there's so many different things here that can be helpful to you as you spiritually grow, mature, and evolve. Now again, if you do go there, it's Etsy shops, and it's LSF Sanctuary LLC. Make sure that you put in the Matrix Minds for a coupon code for 20% off. With that also being said, I have finished. It's at the end of the month, unfortunately, but it does give you energy into next month. So I have finished all of the home light security readings. Those are on my YouTube channel, Lady Stars and Fire. And you can find it there, going over every single zodiac sign. Now, with that being said, yes, we're getting ready to come into we still have 2 weeks left, because the solar eclipse does not actually take place in Taurus until the new moon, the last day of the month. But all of this energy has been directing you into the light bringer from within. Now, see, Spirit told me a couple videos back, for those of you who have been following me, that I should be addressing you all as Starfleet. Stop looking at things as starlight. Star workers, light workers, star seeds. There's so much more to the plot than that. You guys are still, from what they're giving me, we're just seeing like a little microscopic idea of all the power and the power of who and what you are. And everything that entails in your manifestation, from the moment you're breathing in to the moment you are exhale, you are letting your energy out. And they're, like I said, they're like You are Starfleet. They were like, you are not just a star seed. You're not just a light bringer. You are not just a light worker. You deal with bringing the dark into the light. You deal with seeing everything that has to shift, grow, manifest, and become better, healthier in this world, and everything that it takes for us to do that. So individually, you are a star fleet of light bringers, period. And I'm saying that because of the solar eclipse that's coming in right now. What do you think a solar eclipse is? What do you think the eclipse is? Hold on, I gotta take a sip of my drink. Eclipses bring extra powerful energy to the playing field, and they're bringing it to light. They're covering the sun. I mean, the sun's covering the moon, vice versa. It's bringing it to light. If there is ever a time that it is go time, people, it is now. It is all about go time. I had a Spirit just told me to use that. I had may not be the best idea of looking at it, but I had a boyfriend once, and his parenting skills, for lack of knowing how to better parent his teenager, because teenager was coming into those teenage ways and doing things that teenagers should not be doing. And so his way of making sure that they couldn't keep anything hidden behind the door was he removed the door from the hinges of his son's bedroom, taking away his privacy. However, what Spirit is reminding me of is, if there's ever a time to kick in that 12th house, that energies of the 12th house, our subconscious hidden selves, our self-deception, our self-undoing, our self-sacrifice, our hidden messed up parts of our minds that create karma to be the same thing over and over again, our negative patterns that we don't acknowledge. If there's ever a time to take the hinges off the closet, this is the time. You've heard me say in the 12th house many of times that it's like the skeletons that are in your closet. Well, we're taking the hinges off the door and pulling all of them skeletons up and out. It's like I say a lot of time when I'm dealing with 12th house energy. Well, even though a lot of this is coming from the universal energy of the 12th house, I always say, sometimes it's, like you swept the energy under the carpet. You swept the situation under the carpet, but the carpet's right there. It's still in broad daylight. It's just enough to be hidden, but still right there. This is what we're saying. Pull the hinges off the door to the 12th house. Let all the secrets out. Bring them to the surface and explore the hidden depths of our truth. Because you see, it's not, like I said, just Starfleet. You guys are light bringers. And Venus is in this energy, which is part of what's bringing my intention to where I'm going to be going with some of this, from what Spirit is giving me. Because Spirit is reminding me that Venus is one of, if you go back enough into your history, Venus is also considered the light bringer. So is Lucifer. So is a lot of dark energy. But why would it be considered the light bringer if it didn't need to be brought into light? Spirit is saying, use this as the energy, for those who use tarot card, as looking at the devil card. In general, the devil card can speak to us of self-sabotage. It can speak to us of being in our comfort zone, and it can speak to us of just flat out desire. But what if your desire and your comfort zone are creating patterns that really doesn't bring anything to where you wanted to go, because it's resurfacing a pattern of self-sabotage? And this is what you're being brought to the attention of by Spirit. See, they're reminding me that a lot of this energy is only the beginning, is really only the beginning of the purging that is to come, of the detoxation that is to come, the cleansing that is to come. We're still just creeping up on the surface. Spirit is saying it's a lot of, if you look at things from the directions of understanding it from that point of view, a lot of the north direction. When you plant a seed, it sits in the dark for quite a while until it finally is able to break through into the light. And this is what we're doing. We're trying to take from the north direction and move it into the east direction. We're trying to take it into a beginning point, a beginning direction of how to resurface, reformulate, redirect, construction. We're learning how to cultivate in new ways. We're learning how to penetrate into the light by wondering where parts of us are not in it, because there's hidden pieces of us that we still haven't explored when we get into it in our personal lives. Now, for people, I know you do leave comments, and I do apologize. I don't read them because I read them at the end. I don't want to get off of my channeling and what I am picking up. So I thank you for anything that is being said, and I will go back and read over it later. But see, this morning, and I know many of you have had that kind of situation as to what I'm saying, and everything that I've been telling you is pieces that Spirit's been giving me throughout the day to help me understand what in the world happened. See, because this morning, when I came out of my, my journeying, my astral traveling and stuff, I was given, and I know this had to have happened to many of you several times, where like, when you're on the other side and you're dealing with it from that spiritual journeying part, and you're deep within yourself and you're deep within your higher self, and you're really going through the lesson here, that it's like it all makes perfect sense. I explained it perfectly, your spirit guides, your higher self, whatever it was that made that work. And it's like it explained it so perfectly, so finely tuned and into detail that it was like, oh. But then when you come back to your body, you come back to this reality, it quickly fades, and you're like, wait, no, I didn't get a chance to write that down. And that's what happened to me this morning. And I knew that it had to do with the video I'm doing here tonight. So all day I've been working with them. I'm like, come on, give me back that message. I need it. I know it was important. And the reason I had to lose it was just as evenly as important. See, because what Spirit is trying to say is, too many of us are still connected to the idea of the hive brain. Spirit is saying, when you look at your phones and all of the information that you save to the cloud, this is another form of looking at the hive brain. And what they're saying is, unfortunately, for too many of us, we're in an issue of having trouble with breaking those patterns. Because what Spirit was trying to direct to me is every thought, every action, every brain, when it's having its thought, it goes through, it's like the wires in your head, the way that they hook up, the way that they light up, it is actually part of the brain activity that you are going through. However, you have to understand the brain activity also has patterns within it that it follows. Now, when we're going into looking at things from a 12th house point of view, from breaking the cage from the world we've always known and creating the one we're trying to create, Spirit is directing me to too many of you, me included, we have our brain activity automatically goes, well, this means this needs to happen, and then this needs to happen, and then this needs to happen. And it has a specific pattern that it lights up and it activates and it flows. But too many of us have certain areas in that brain activity that are actually connected to that 12th house activity, that comfort zone, that I desire this, but I don't know how to go about it, so I'll follow that pattern. I wish to do this, but I'm not sure how to handle it, so I go about it that way. And your patterns, for many of you, or us in general, is what Spirit is saying is, it's lighting up an activity and a pattern in which it normally, in the past, has followed the hive brain and gone. And I always explain to people, like when we do meditation, sometimes you're just taking time in meditation where you're simply going, all right, I'm going to listen to my heart now, brain. You need to shut up. Brain, we're not talking to you right now. This is heart time. Because the brain has a bad habit of having to be on top of things. The brain has a bad habit with control. The brain, like you read from time to time, like there's like, you know, like a sign on the wall, and the sign on the wall could say the twice, but your brain may miss reading it twice because it knows, well, that's a mistake. Let me correct it and move on. And this is what Spirit is saying. For too many of us, trying to break this pattern means we have to slow down, because the brain activity already has a pattern in which it knows how to direct us. But it's connected to the sorrow, grief, sorrow, shame, blame. It's connected to the self-sabotage, the self-deception that goes along with the ideas of that inner 12th house, which is what we have to heal and bring into the surface and into the light in order for us to actually start making these changes. So we're having to slow down enough to also not just tell ourselves, but to help our brain listen to our heart and go, this is a bad pattern. This is the pattern following good old-fashioned hive brain. Good old-fashioned, what I've stuck up in the cloud, what I've saved there. And we're getting into saved files that no longer do us any good. And we have to start chucking these files and get what we know we have learned from them, but no longer save them. Just like I always say, the skeletons in the closet. So we're learning how to reshape the brain activity with new patterns to be healthy for us. And this has to do with us listening to our heart and taking the time to understand it. Okay? So that the brain activity is psychologically working towards alertness, not drowsiness. And I say that on purpose because a lot of you, including myself, this energy we've been feeling right now has been, you know, many people have been speaking about being exhausted. And this is go time. This is not the time to go, I'm comfortable and it can wait for later, because it really can't. These are the things we have to address now and start making the changes. This is the time to be alert, to be, you know, big, bushy, and wide-eyed is what I just heard them say. This is the time to take the chance to try something new. Go ahead, fall on your face, learn if it works. But this is the time to try, not to be psychologically connected to the self-sabotage and the good old-fashioned patterns that weren't healthy in the first place. This is the time to try new ones. Now, as I get into the blueprint, this is the human body. I'm going over it because I want you to understand why that all of that brain activity was so important according to what Spirit was also saying. Because you have Chiron, which happens to be going over the nerves, Chiron this week, as it's moving through the human body in the actual blueprint. It is going over the nerves of the left and right hemisphere. This is speaking to you of your ego and your soul, of your feminine and your masculine, your yin and your yang. It's trying to make these decisions. Chiron is the wounded healer. Off the bat, this is saying, I see what I need to do, but I don't know how to do it. So maybe I should just double check with the pattern. Well, the pattern didn't work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching these videos. Otherwise, you wouldn't be needing to grow. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to bring it into light. There's a reason why it's called the light bringer. It brings to the surface what's already been hidden in the dark. It's planting the seed. But where are you taking the seed? To the same old pattern or a new one? You also have Pallas, which is Athena, the warrior goddess. And she is moving over the parts of the brain that actually deal with behavioral, emotional responses. Athena is a wisdom and strategic thinking. And how are we going to slow down and emotionally decide what we're attached to, good or bad, or not? And what do we need to do about that? And are we behaving in the way we want to? Then we also have the South Node, which is in the nose. Again, Spirit was reminding me, from the moment you breathe in to the moment you breathe out, which is a response that you do just to stay alive, breathing. But what are you breathing? Are you breathing the pattern of anguish, of the self-sacrifice, of the denial, of the desire? But what is all of this adding up to the same pattern? Or are you breathing in a new breath of life, a fresh breath of life? And are you breathing in a new pattern? Because what you are breathing, what you are thinking, and your actions are actually your manifestation, and what you are filling your cloud, your hive brain with. Chiron is the South Node. It's everything that you're good at, but it's not any good for you anymore. So automatically this says in your normal daily patterns, where are you setting the proper healthy rules that help you to breathe in what you desire to create and bring into fruition versus what you've always had? And will you have the courage to change that? This is in your blueprint alone before I even get into astrology. This is why I tell people, you need to understand your blueprint. The blueprint is constantly moving, just like astrology is, but in the body, it takes on a different form. And each person has a blueprint, and then we place the other one on top. I do that also at Etsy. You have the sun, which is literally leaving Aries, going into Taurus. It's coming into the lymph nodes of the neck. It's coming into the neck nerves. It's coming into your vocal cords, and it's coming into your tonsils. So this is, again, about breathing and expressing our truth. Breathing, speaking, and expressing our truth. As well as, with it being in this area, it's just as evenly in the area that is behind you with the zeal point. So this also speaks to you of, again, breathing in and out through the throat. But what energies are we feeding ourselves with? The negative ones that our zeal point doesn't know how to attack, doesn't know how to shut down on the lower vibrations? Or is it breathing in healthy ones that's helping stimulate the body with a high vibration? Because when you're breathing in the low vibration, believe it or not, you're stimulating it on a lower vibration, whether you want to or not. So what are we bringing into the hive of ourselves? Uranus is in the neck as well. This is all speaking to us also of our viewing back and forth, of our being able to optically see everything that is going on because of our ability to shift. Because when the lymph nodes swell, you get the kink in your neck and you can't move. All of this has to do with, are you blocked in energies? You have Ceres and Lilith now coming into the ribs, which is protecting the heart space. It's the cage around the heart that protects the heart space. This is nurturing or neglecting the heart space. This is, are you coming into the fire of your heart space? Are you coming back into the soul authenticity of yourself and believing in the protected energy of it? Or are you giving it up to submissiveness and neglecting it again? And then, of course, we have the lower vibrations. And I say it that way because all of the main characters, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, they're all in the low vibrations. And I'm not saying that from Sagittarius down is low vibrations. What I'm saying is your mainstream left out the fact that from the Sagittarius part of the body, your hips and thighs down is all where the lower vibrations are stored. It's where we get tripped up in our jealousy, our anger, our fear, our anguish. It's where we get tripped up in inferiority, jealousy, intimidation, anger. All of these energies are in the chakras that are taking place down there. And I can't say enough times, you can not only work from your root chakra up, you can not only bring light and healing and clear energy from the root chakra up, you have got to start with the feet. The feet is the very energy that carries you everywhere you go. And you have a full house of energy taking place in your feet right now, in Pisces. And Pisces is the dreamy, magical wonder. But it's also very easy to get walked over in Pisces. You have Neptune here, you have Jupiter here, you have Venus here, you have Mars here, you also have Juno here. And this is all the energies. If you don't bless your feet and be responsible to your feet are responsible for taking you everywhere you go, whether it's good for you or not. And they are trying to ask you, well, where are you walking yourself into? And what are you putting yourself through? Because ultimately, they are the ones responsible for it. And if you aren't cleaning out the energies and the truths from the true soul of the feet up, then you're doing all of it for nothing. Because you have to clear the entire channel, not just mid-drift. I'm just giving you a good, powerful understanding stance as to what that is and how important it is as it runs through your left leg this week, especially in your knees, your left leg, the lower part of the left leg, and the feet. Now, as we come into astrology, you have sextiles all over the place. I ain't even going to get into the level of sextiles. Sextiles means that there are opportunities for you everywhere. But the problem with sextiles when there's too many is we get lazy, we get comfortable, and we miss the opportunity because we're like, oh, it'll wait. No, it won't. Lilith, Pluto, and the South Node are the keys here, even though mainly everything's coming out of that 12th house and that 11th house. But the main energies that are just back and everything is Lilith, Pluto, and the South Node. And it's giving you chances to rise if you're willing to see what the messages are. Lilith is in your 4th house now, which is your home. It's the 4th house is the home. But more importantly, it's the vessel itself. It's not just the home. It's the vessel. It's the inner emotional security and the roots of who and what you are. And everything that you don't even remember about yourself. Lilith is getting along great with Mars and getting along great with Saturn. But here's the problem. Saturn is in that 11th house. This is saying, I'm giving you the power, the fire, the juice to believe in yourself, to come into loving yourself, to come into identifying with yourself and showing the world just how powerful, how beautiful, how unique you are. But it's getting along great with Mars, which isn't very powerful here. Mars is in Pisces, in that 12th house. In the 12th house of the grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, in our hidden self, in the skeletons in the closet. Mars is a fire energy stuck in water. He's like stuck in a meeting. He's not his normal oomph of power, normal fire and action and aggression. So while Lilith is getting along great with Mars, it's not really giving you the feel of, yeah, I need to get out and go do this today. It's not giving you that go time feeling. Because he's in a meeting, he's like, oh, I can't do anything about it. I gotta sit here and stick. No. This is all about being self-assertive, self-motivated. This is all about going, I'm doing this for me. Because this is what's best for me. This is what's healing for me. And I'm able to show the world how unique I am, the true character of myself. I'm able to identify with what I need, what I desire that's healthy. Instead of just going, well, right now, I think that this would be great. That's not the energy we're after this week. We're after assertiveness. Pluto is in that 10th house, down to his last 2 years. Definitely starting to hit underneath the belt. Trying to illuminate the fire up in your butt. Where are you? Are you the authority of you in the outer world? Or are you just the authority of you when you want to believe in it? Or can you believe in it all the time? Pluto is having very unpredictable energies with Lilith. And that inner emotional security. Coming into the fire of who and what you are. Unpredictable energy means it can go any direction. It can make you feel it, but it can't make you act upon it. That is up to you. Will you be inspired by you, or will you be inspired by the lower vibrations that are trying to threaten you? By showing your authority in the outer world, by knowing yourself, calling your power back to you, claiming you to be just as important as any and everything else out here. I am not a group of these people. I am not a group of these people, and I do not just belong to this membership. I am unique, and I deserve to be treated as so. Each and every person out there does. We should not be viewed as sheep. We should be viewed individually and be able to stand up for ourselves individually. However, that also means coming into your power, coming into your fire, your inner emotional security, trusting in your personal foundation, trusting in your true self to lead you forward. Chiron is not getting along with Mars or Juno. The sacrifice and the commitment it takes to make the healing. I already said Mars is kind of like in this energy. You have to find the own confidence in you. You have to be the fire that is in the water. Not just steam, but reignite your flame. Chiron is the wounded healer. What can I say? He's in a new cycle. He's trying to start new things. He's in Aries. He's not close to the energies that have just been leaving Aries. But he's the wounded healer. He's quite capable of seeing it on everybody else. That's one reason why it's mirroring back to you what you need to see, that you need to heal within yourself. Chiron is good at acknowledging what needs to happen, but isn't good at knowing how to make it happen when it comes to ourselves individually. Taking the first steps. Taking action. Putting the commitment into the sacrifice that moves you forward. This has to be self-motivated. This has to be what you desire. This has to be about you becoming your own light bringer. It's also not getting along with Uranus or Mercury in the second house, making you not a whole 100% full feeling, trusting in your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. It's not giving you the emphasis of I'm secure. Uranus is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom. It's the uniqueness of finding the liberation of being yourself and manifesting from the knowing of the knowledge that you are whole, that you are soul, that you are source, that you are different yet just as equally, evenly important as everyone else. Mercury is communication. I can't say enough times how much Mercury don't care if the communication is positive or negative. This is the second house. We're talking about our value, our liberation, our dignity. And it's not getting along with Chiron and the self, in the self-awareness. This is saying it's time to identify with all that you are and can be. However, it's not comfortable. It's not showing you it with big balls of fire, because this is something you have to find. Nobody can find it for you. Chiron is also very unpredictably speaking to Pluto, meaning, hey, if you can locate it in yourself, if you can bring it to the surface, if you can believe, well, I'm here to help you find that authority in that outer world. But if you'd rather wait for another day, well, then that's fine. We won't go there. Unpredictable energy is majorly powerful because it all depends on the free will of the human being, and if you're willing to tap into it or not. Uranus is having incredibly unpredictable energy with Mars. In that second house, we're talking about, again, your possession of yourself, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your unique ability to show how beautiful you are and why you should be noticed, which will also bring your manifestation to you. It's having incredibly unpredictable energy with Mars, which is in that 12th house of locating parts of your hidden self, overcoming, healing. But it's not coming out, like I said, great balls of fire. This is digging deep. This is digging deep and investigating where we're healing, where we're bringing back. You know, like I said, if there's ever a week to remove the hinges from that 12th house and be willing just to walk up in there and be like, I own this bitch. What's going on? This is that week as we're approaching this new moon with the eclipse in Taurus, coming into your power, coming into the possession of you, coming into your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. This whole full moon and this whole month was about, and I said it last week, I believe, you've been weighed and measured. Will you be found wanting? Well, are you wanting, or are you going to go get it? I love you guys. I'm just giving you the keys. Go get your power back. Go find out who you are. Be willing to discover everything about yourself and the healing that you need. Uranus is not getting along with Jupiter or Neptune. All of that's taking place right there in that 12th house. Meaning it's easier to stay with the pattern you've always known. It's easier for that brain activity to follow suit with the patterns that it knows. Well, when this happens to me, we do this. And then when this happens, we do this. And then when this happens, we do this. No, slow down. We're going to redirect. We're taking control. We're going to redirect how that brain's going to act. We're going to redirect our magic. Neptune is manifestation at the most beautiful price of magic. It gives you the opportunity to create anything. It gives you the ability to step into the spark, the soul ignition, the soul igniting, and tap into it. That personal, perfect piece of source that's hidden in your 12th house. Magic right now is going, I'm so hidden from you, you can't even find your way. So prove it wrong. Neptune is fantasy, illusion, and delusion. It's fantasy meets reality. Nobody said you can't bring it into reality. You just have to believe in yourself enough to go to discover it. Jupiter gives you the abundance for anything you're willing to do. But are you in fantasy or reality? Where are you going to take your magic? Do you have the courage to go locate it and bring that sucker back to the three-dimensional world and go, let me show you who I am, bitches. This is where we're at. You're being weighed and measured by your own higher self. Well, you stand up. You have that Uranus is also not getting along with Lilith. Inner emotional security in your 4th house, believing in the fire of you. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. Anything's possible. The sun is not getting along with Venus, the very light bringer. The sun is now in that 2nd house. Self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, how you create, how you manifest, what you breathe in. And it's not getting along with the 12th house. The same old patterns. Grief, sorrow, shame, blame, self-deception. Spirit just said some of your secrets. Where's your mental illness from the world you've known, connected to the anguish that makes you feel comfortable because you're afraid? I've said before that when we come into stepping into the power of who and what we are, that's almost foreign. You've got to learn to break that habit, break that pattern. And you also have Saturn this week, which is the rules, the walls, the boundaries that help create your goals, your dreams, your ambitions by making sure that you have the proper alliances, the right groups, peoples, memberships. It's not getting along with the notes. It's not getting along with that 8th house, which again is bringing you rules, walls, boundaries in the relationships. Do they need to shift? Do they need to be redirected so that you are able to accompany, I guess, those who would help you, because that was not my word, but so that you can be able to redirect yourself into the dreams, the goals, the ambitions, the desires that you're trying to bring into fruition according to the groups, the memberships, the relationships that you're keeping. Are you setting boundaries that work for you? Are you setting boundaries that also show the world and these groups and these memberships just how unique, how beautiful you are, and how much they need to notice you, love you, and respect you, without trying to be all like, you will respect me? Balance. Like I said, the brain is going over the masculine and the feminine, the right and the left hemisphere, and it's trying to figure out what balance is this week. And what balance are we doing? What direction are we setting? What patterns are we directing? Neptune and Jupiter are getting along great with the South Node. Well, of course they are. The South Node is everything that you're good at, but it's not good for you. Staying with the same old patterns. This means you have to stand up for yourself. You have to redirect. You have to believe. It's not getting along with Lilith coming into your power. Trusting in the inner emotional security and the roots and the self-foundation of everything that you know you can be if you believe in you. It's not getting along with the sun, your personal character, and showing itself. It's not going to be an easy week. But if you want to come out on the other side of this eclipse is coming next week, you better start making sure that you're measuring up. You're weighing up and not going to be found wanted. Mercury, the communication with Uranus in that 2nd house is speaking of you coming into your power, coming into your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your manifestation, your uniqueness, your inner freedom, and showing the world it. But the world also wants it for itself. Going back to the magic of the same old patterns of that 12th house. Are you going to allow the world to continue its same old cycle? And are you going to be part of that same old cycle? Or are you going to start, I'm off that spaceship. I've gotten on Starfleet. We're redirecting this thing. I love you guys. I will catch you next week. Bye.